lessons. Every bad choice only made with a thorough checklist. Every wrong turn showed me there's a clear direction. I had to let it go and let God do. If it was up to me, I would have never knew this magic. Best thing happened to me. Life's fast, but with you in my past, and just see no losses. We just live and learn. And though I can't say every love affair was perfect, but every painful day and late night was worth it. Took me a while, but I realized that everyone that let me down led me to you. Led me to you, baby. Oh, baby. All the sleepless nights. All the sleepless nights. All the heartbreak that led me to you. Led me to you, baby. If I never went through it, I'd have never found a love like yours. The sky was always blue, but blue, and now it's you, baby. The sun seems to shine. I needed ups and downs to be alive.
All right, good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome back to the Urban Heat. 98.1 FM, Steve Gooseby. Welcome to R&B Talk. We have moved the show from Thursdays to Tuesdays. Thanks for coming back. Happy New Year, all that good stuff. Rich, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, Steve, man.
Oh, wait a minute. I got the wrong mic up. I'm sorry, man. Go ahead. Go for it.
2026 is here, Steve, and it started off really well right now, man. Everything's going good, man.
All right,
Happy New Year to everybody out there.
Happy New Year to everyone, man. Listen, we got a great show. We got a lot to talk about. The stuff that's going on in Venezuela. The market is good. In taxes, we got Senator Nick Collins who's coming in. He's going to be here at 11 o'clock, and we're going to talk about these property taxes that are just going crazy in Boston right now. But before we do that, I want y'all to give it up one time for this brother right here, man. When it comes to movies, y'all know who he is. And he's got a couple of albums out, got a new one coming out in May, if I'm not mistaken. Give it up for the one and only Leon, y'all. Make some noise.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning, man. How you doing, Leon?
I can't complain. Plus, if I did, nobody want to hear that.
Nobody want to hear that, man. Now, you've been here at least once before. I remember back in the day, man, WIOD days, man. You was up here doing your thing. But so you got a lot going on. People know you as this actor, man. They know all the movies. But before we get into that, man, I want to talk about this project you got out. I actually knew you was doing music from a few years ago about a project that I came across. You're on your second album. And again, got a third coming out. Talk to me about the current project you got out right now.
Well, our latest album was Love is a Beautiful Thing, was a couple years ago.
Right.
And was lucky enough to chart 2 songs in the top 20 when it first came out on Billboard. So it's nice that people appreciate the music. And, mainly Leon and the People's my band. We're a live band.
Right.
We make music so you know the songs when we come to your show, to come to your town. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I love performing live, just like I love acting on stage live. And, it's just connecting with the audience is something that I've always loved.
Right. So how do you go from, obviously music's in your background. The 5 Heartbeats, we can name all the movies that had to do with certain artists. How did you go from acting into the music, or were you always into the music first?
Well, music was my first love, but
Right.
I became an actor, and I trained to be an actor. And, when I was in college, I wrote and performed a song for the Special Olympics. Acting took off. I was also on scholarship as a basketball player. So it wasn't really my concentration. Then after I started making a couple popular movies, I started hosting a lot of music festivals. And I'd be backstage with artists, and we'd be singing a cappella. And they're like, well, you should sing, man. You don't need to, but you can, and you love it. And so I joined the band, and with some really great musicians from Springsteen's band, UB40, Steel Pulse, because I'm a reggae head. And, they wanted to just do cover songs, and I wanted to do original music. So I had to leave them, and I formed my band called the Peoples. And then I had to pull a David Ruffin on them and call us Leon and the Peoples, because we was getting better shows that way.
Oh man, yeah, that's one of my favorite parts of all of your movies, man. Ain't nobody checking for you, Otis. And matter of fact, you mentioned basketball, so I think that was the one time you were here. Was it a celebrity game in Boston?
I don't know. I think, you know what it was? I think I did a play in Boston.
Okay.
I did a play there, that we sold out there years ago. I can't remember exactly what it was, but yeah, that's what it was.
Right. What are your thoughts about where music is today, man? The industry and all of that, man. What do you think about the AI and all that stuff, man?
Well, I think it's a shame. I mean, unfortunately, we have a whole generation of young people growing up today that think that music is free. Man, when we was younger, we somebody come out, we had to go to the record store. We go to the record store, and the artists would get the money, or at least somebody get them now. You know, people think music is free.
Right.
So when their artist is no longer around, they're like, how come he ain't making records no more? It's like, no, why? Because he's working at H&M, because he couldn't afford it. That's why.
Yeah. I do think one of the things AI will do, I think it will bring out real artists again. You know what I mean? Because now with the AI, AI is like, it's almost too good when you listen to the song. It seems like in some cases like overmodulated, but I think it's going to force real talent to come back, because I can tell an AI song from a real artist. You know what I mean? I think people are going to get back to, I got to hear something that's authentic out here, real artists and real music and that whole thing. So,
without a doubt, like anything, with any kind of progress we make in the world, there's lots of times there's ways to use it that keeps it authentic.
Right.
Okay. So for example, the little bit that I've dabbled in AI, what it can be good for in music is that it can give you an inspiration, but it should not be your song. You should not be putting out something that was made by AI. Right. You know what I'm saying? You may want to see if something works in a different genre. So you may put it in and say, oh, this could be a rock song.
Right.
Let me go in there. Let me get my musicians in here and rock this out. Do you know what I'm saying? As opposed to taking a song and releasing it that AI made. I mean, come on now. Anybody could do that.
Right. Anybody can do that, man. That's technology. That's where things are going. So, today's music, I love my R&B, and there's not enough of it that comes out. But on the neo soul side, that side of R&B is flooded. How do you feel about the direction of where it's going today, in your opinion?
Well, it's tough. It depends on how much you love music, okay?
Right.
Because the good thing about the internet now and the different services that you can actually find artists. You can put out your music. You don't need a record company. And if you really love music, you can find great artists. Before, back in the day, if radio didn't play you, you couldn't find the artists.
That's right.
So the real part, the real drag about it is that artists should be able to make money off of what they do. If they have fans, if you have 1 million streams, you should be doing well. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But the way the streams are set up, you're not getting paid like that off 1 million when you actually should.
Being taken advantage of. It's not much different than what's happening in the acting world.
And from what I'm hearing now, Spotify just slipped in some new rules. So when you upload your stuff on Spotify now, they now have the right to take your liking and do whatever they want with it. They can have someone else do your vocals. They can remix your song. They can do whatever they want now. So it's getting crazy out there. Do not upload your stuff on Spotify.
No, yeah, more and more artists more and more artists will stop uploading on these streaming services that do not care about them, who are taking advantage of them. Okay, I mean, I don't. If you want to hear your record, you want your record to be on Spotify so bad that you're willing to just give it up, because you mind if you're doing that, you're giving up your royalties, everything.
You're giving up it all. That's right.
So what's the point?
Right. Exactly. So now you're working on a new project, I'm hearing, right?
Well, I'm working on a new project right now. Yeah, our latest album. We just wrote some songs in Costa Rica, but mainly, we're out live right now, and our first show of the year is in Boston this Sunday.
Oh, that's dope.
At City Winery.
That's dope.
Dope. So I just wanted to let the people of Boston know to come on out, check out Leon and the Peoples. It's we call it Where Reggae Meets Soul.
That's dope, man. You're gonna have all of Cambridge and Mattapan up in there. I'm telling you that right now.
That's what I want. I want everybody up in there. Right. You have a good time. Matter of fact, we'll be selling them T-shirts, the real, authentic ones. That say "Ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis."
That's dope.
That's part of our merch, and so I'm hoping to see a bunch of everybody out of City Winery. We've been playing a bunch of city wineries around the country and selling them out, and I really hope that Boston comes and shows out.
Yeah, I don't think you have any problem with that, man. So talk to me a little bit about the show. Like, do you play instruments at all, or?
I play the microphone.
There you go. All right.
Yeah, I play the microphone. The musicians in my band I play a little bit of something, but I don't play good enough to play in my band. These guys are the real deal, and I love them.
That's dope.
Quick question, Leon, how you doing, brother? How you
talking
doing
to that mic, Rich? Because
I missed the memo on wearing the shades. I'm sorry, I would have worn my shades. You know what I'm saying?
Leon, quick question. How you doing today, brother?
I'm good, man. How are you? Happy New Year.
Same to you, brother. Quick question. I followed your whole career, and man, you made some great movies over the years, man. One of the movies going back was Little Richard. I really like the Little Richard movie, right? And did you study him to do his movie? Because you did such a great job. I was always curious about when actors portray someone from back in the day, a guy like that. Did you study a lot of his old dance moves and his whole history of? Because I'm familiar with Little Richard, watching, my mother and them was listening to him as a kid. I listened to his music. So did you really study him? Because you did a great job in the movie.
Thank you. Yeah, of course. I met him, talked to him, read his book, and then of course I watched so many of his performances.
Yeah.
And more importantly, when you're doing a movie, and especially because it was a movie for television, so you couldn't go deep as I would go if I was doing something else. The most important thing with Richard, he just wanted to be recognized for who he is and not for all the things people were saying about him. And he was friends with David Ruffin. And so he told me that he had faith because I thought I did such a great job playing his friend David Ruffin that he believed that, he had I had his blessing.
Oh, yeah, you did an amazing job, man. I was really taken back because, like I said, growing up as a kid, late 60s, 70s, my mother and them listened to Little Richard. And, and I read a lot about him. And I found out later that a lot of Elvis Presley's dance moves actually came from Little Richard,
Oh, everything. The Beatles, the Beatles were a Little Richard cover band.
Yeah.
Wow.
And actually wanted Little Richard to manage them. And he turned it down. He said, who gonna listen to a group called the Beatles?
Yeah.
Right. Wow.
Yeah. It's amazing, man. But thank you for all the movies, man. I don't think I have missed any of your movies going all the way back to your early acting career.
Well, I'm glad you said that. It's a good segue because I have 4 new movies in the can.
Mm-hmm.
And so over the next year and a half, they'll be coming out. And so please keep watching them.
And
wait a minute. You just can't tease us like that, man. Tell us about some of these movies, man.
Oh, the first one is making this film festival rounds right now. It's called The Rhythm and the Blues. It's about the Eddie Taylor, the great blues artist from Chicago, one of the great artists that were ripped off mainly by the British invasions for their song.
Wow.
And another movie is called Jingle Hells, which hopefully will come out next Christmas. I play a rapper from Brooklyn that moves to London and falls in love with one of my son's teachers. And she finds out that I have 14 kids and 8 baby mamas. So she gets together with all the baby mamas and they drop off all 14 of my kids at my house on Christmas Eve. And they tear my house up. But it winds up being the best Christmas they've ever had and the best Christmas I've ever had.
Wow.
And another one, which I'm really excited about, is called Wild Cards. We sent an unfinished version to the Essence Film Festival this summer, and it won Best Picture. It's a courtroom drama. I've always wanted to play a lawyer. I play a lawyer who has not lost a case in 20 years, but I'm hired by a white, very influential man to represent his son, who's on trial for raping a beautiful black girl.
Wow, the acting is so automatic for you now. Is it as easy as it looks from our end?
Well, that's my job. My job is to
Right.
make it look easy, but it's not easy at all.
Right.
Not if I train to act, but for me, when you watch me, hopefully in any good actor on screen, hopefully you just get lost in it. You're not thinking he's acting at all.
Right.
You're thinking that's who it is, and that happens to me all the time. People see me in the street. Most people call me by my character names, which I love. I still got some women mad at me over Waiting to Exhale. I keep telling them, man, that's a movie. That's a movie.
Well, with your basketball background, that was really surprising to me. Where did you play college basketball at?
At Loyola Marymount.
Oh man, Hank Gathers and out there in
And
California.
Bo Kimball,
right?
yeah, the Philadelphia
Bo
Bulls.
Kimball, oh man, wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing. Wow, man. So basically, in Above the Rim, man, you did your own scenes, man. You was out there balling with those brothers, huh?
Oh yeah, yeah. You know what? I always say this, and I don't mean to be biased. It's just I always feel as though Above the Rim is the best basketball movie because everyone in there could really hoop.
Wow.
But they were really actors. See, we've had movies where they've used NBA stars and everything else, but the acting was what it was.
Right.
These were actors. Everybody was an actor in there, and but they were ballers. And the ballers you saw there, they were all the street legends from the Rucker.
Yeah, amazing. That was an amazing movie too.
Wow, dope stuff, man. Well, we ain't gonna hold you up, man. We know you got a busy day and all that. Now the winery this weekend. How many shows you got?
One show, Sunday, 7:30. Doors open at 5:30. City Winery. I'm gonna come out after the show to do a meet and greet with everybody because I want to see my people in Boston. I ain't been there for a while.
All right.
And so please come on out. I love for y'all to be part of the party.
Right. And one of my guys just texted me. He said, "Oh no, he opened up for Barris Hammond when he was here at the Roxy."
Oh yeah. Well, let me see. Yeah, right. Well, I toured with Barris. I toured with Barris Hammond quite often.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's
Ain't
my
no
guy.
joke, man. All right, folks. Well, thanks, man. We don't want to hold you up, but we love your work. And this guy, there's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. There's the Stars in Hollywood, or the Hollywood Walk of Fame. There needs to be something for our culture because obviously you're great at what you do. People like yourselves, we look at you as a legend in the game. So we just wanted to say, we love your work. Thank you for joining us and much success.
I appreciate that. It's funny about you talk about the Walk of Fame because so many times people come up to me and say, "When you getting your star? When you getting your star?" And I've always been like a real person. I'm a neighborhood guy, and so I told everybody, I said, "Listen, it's more important to me, which is something that might happen, that the street that my mama lives on while she's still alive is named after me."
Right.
To me, that would, for her to see that would be my Academy Award.
Yeah. But I and I get that too, but I just feel like we need something to honor our people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we do. We
would
do.
definitely,
And we should have as many award ceremonies as possible. They just gave me a Lifetime Achievement Award down in Orlando with Danny Glover.
Yeah.
And someone else. And, and I appreciate that. I appreciate people, looking at my whole body of work and showing appreciation for it. Everyone loves that. Whether it's the acting, the music, whatever, it's all love.
Right. All right. Leon and the Peoples live this Sunday at the City Winery. Y'all don't miss it. Check them out. Thank you, brother. We appreciate you, man. Love
Definitely,
you,
man. Take care, man. Happy New Year.
All right. Happy New Year to you.
Thank you.
Yes. What a good brother, man. I mean that folks like him, Lorenz Tate, the list just goes on. Nia Long, they belong in that, call it whatever you want, our Hall of Fame. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that was amazing just to know that his basketball career, when he played in the movies, he actually, did his own thing on the basketball court.
Right.
And his movies, man, it's unbelievable. Every movie he's made, I think I've watched, and if it's on, man, and you switch the channel, you get caught up in watching his movies because, like you said, his acting career has really what it's been about 40 years now, Steve.
Oh man, I would say something like
back
that.
to the early 80s.
I think when he did 5 Heartbeats, that was like 35 years ago or something like that.
Exactly,
man.
Yeah.
And he's just an icon in the game, and just a great natural actor. So natural at it, man. And I swear he played I want to say he did play in a celebrity game we had here one year when I was working at WILD, man. But yeah, shout out to him and the best of luck for the remainder of the year and that tour and everything, man. So go check him out this Sunday, the City Winery, y'all. We got so much more to talk about. We're going to talk about the property taxes with Senator Nick Collins. He's going to be in here live at 11 o'clock. But right now, let's talk about the stuff that's going on in Venezuela, man. And this could take up the whole show. But, most people that have followed that, a lot of folks are thinking it's all about the oil. And the oil does have a lot to do with it. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Venezuela is they own about over 300 barrels of crude oil, the most in the country, in the world.
300 billion or something like that. It's in the billions.
Right.
That they, have in oil there. I saw billions. That's what I saw, Steve, which is insane.
Yeah, and it's the most throughout the world. So let's just start from the beginning of what happened with this whole Venezuela thing.
Well, I mean, as you saw when you woke up the other morning, you saw that the U.S. had went in there and they took the president and his wife, brought them to U.S. soil, and it was because of the drug activity blowing up the boats.
Right.
They charged them with several different crimes, narco terrorism, or however they word it. And some people think that you can't just go into a sovereign country and abduct a leader like that.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people giving pushback on it because it didn't go before Congress and everything. And now Venezuela is in an upheaval because you have half the people that wanted the president out of there, half the people that's behind him. The new president was one of his aides. She's been sworn in. The other lady, she's in exile in Spain, who actually won the election.
Right.
Trump supported her. She won the Nobel Peace Prize. She figured she would be put in there as president. Now he's telling her, no, we have control of Venezuela.
Right.
Allegedly, he's telling us our oil companies are going to go in there and drill. We're going to share the money with Venezuela. It's a lot of mixed signals we're getting about this whole thing. They said Venezuela was bringing a lot of cocaine into America. So it's a lot to bring, take in all at once with this whole situation.
Right.
There are some people saying, well, if you're going to bring someone in and try them on the U.S. soil, shouldn't there be surveillance evidence that they could use against him, that he was actually taking part in the drug? I mean, I'm listening to legal heads.
So for me, right?
Yeah.
I'm looking at all of this and how much of it is really real. And what I mean by that is, we're led to believe that it's about the oil, but Venezuela owns a lot. That land is so rich. I mean, you're talking about minerals, you're talking about metals, silver, diamonds. And when I look at it, it's about more than just the oil. They have the chips that we need for the mobile phones. They have all the chips in I don't even know what they call it. I have to look it up. But
the thing is,
when it comes to AI,
yes, exactly.
When it comes to AI, that land is so rich.
Well, you're talking about a lot of this land. They have, I think, 25,000 square miles of land. It's in the 20,000s.
Yeah.
They only have like, I think, 30 million people or whatever. But their land stretches very far. When you have land like that, it's a lot of untapped resources. That's the same thing with Russia and Ukraine. When Trump said he was going to use some of Ukraine's natural resources to pay us back for giving them all the military weapons to fight Russia, that means these countries have natural resources. A lot of times when the war starts, they're telling us one reason why the war is starting, like Ukraine not joining NATO or want to join NATO. But Steve, you're right about Venezuela. Are we being told the truth? The reason why that we went in there? Is it oil? Is it natural resources? Is it drugs?
I can bet you, with all the hubs that are being built in America for AI, you can best believe that those resources will be used towards what they're building. Right now, they're building Stargate in Texas, which is $1 billion hub for AI. So when we talk about where AI is going, which we talk about all the time, 300 million jobs disappearing. And I believe I have a video of an AI hospital that exists already in China, I believe. This stuff is, we can't just sit back and ignore it, because it really is going to affect us in all kinds of ways. Now, I'm going to play a clip real quick, and I want to get back to the resources in Venezuela. I got to find the clip first, but go ahead, Rich, man. I'm sorry, man.
One of the things I want to chime in with also, so by the U.S. going into Venezuela, what this does, people don't realize on the big stage of the world, you can't tell Russia not to go into Ukraine or fight with Ukraine.
Right.
You can't tell China not to. China been wanting to take over Taiwan forever.
Right.
They think Taiwan is part of China. Taiwan holds about, I want to say 75% of the world's computer chips they produce.
Mm-hmm.
China wants Taiwan. Now, how does the U.S. tell China if they decide to invade Taiwan that you can't do it? Because Russia, China, Iran, they've all denounced what the U.S. just did with Venezuela. So now they're going to tell the U.S., you handle your region and we'll handle our region.
Right.
That's what it's looking like. This is what you call colonialism, and where you're going back to 1800s where the world powers control regions of the world.
Right. Right. So Trump has said, now what's that? The Western Venezuela is what, part of the Western Hemisphere? Is that correct?
We're considered North America.
Okay.
And that's South America. So that's our region of the world.
Right.
The Western Hemisphere, yeah.
So excuse me for not having all the details on this, but maybe you might. Trump talked about some doctrine from some years ago that says that the United States owns that part of the world. And what is he talking about?
That I don't know the full details. It's basically said we can control this region of the world. And Steve,
we have the right to control.
Well, Steve, that's how China feels. They can control all of Asia. Russia feel they control all of Europe. If Russia had its way without NATO, Russia would go right through Ukraine, Poland, all those countries over there. Russia would probably control all of Europe. Only thing stops Russia is NATO. And if you know, Donald Trump has not been a big fan of NATO. Right. He said we pay NATO more money than anybody else. Mm-hmm. So this thing is very tricky right now because the superpowers is looking at it like they're trying to control their region of the world. And you know what, Steve? Our president is talking about Colombia, Mexico, Cuba. Steve, this thing can get very serious. Do our military have the capacity to stretch itself so thin right now?
Well, that was leading up to my next question. Can any of this lead to World III? Can it lead to World War III?
Well, it could, and it also could not, because if all the superpowers say, you know what, you control your region of the world, we'll control our. Is there a plan in place where the United States control North America, China controls Asia, and Russia controls parts of Europe? Is this a backdoor plan that these leaders are putting in place? How do we know that? Right. Are we being told the truth?
Right. Now, Trump also talked about BRICS. BRICS, which is Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and a bunch of other nations actually joined in. It's more than that. So BRICS, they got rid of the American dollar. They stopped buying oil, I want to think, a year ago, because, before that, they were buying oil with the American dollar. So, they're trying to get away from that. And I want to say, did China China actually did the same. But Trump brought that up. He said their only thing is they're trying to weaken the American dollar, and that's never going to happen. If that were to happen, the U.S. would be in big time trouble, and the dollar is king. So I don't know if you heard him say that, but you talk about that, then you talk about the resources in Venezuela with the oil and all the minerals and everything. Like Trump is really pushing his way in terms of power right now.
And you know what, Steve? If you look around the world, China with Taiwan, Russia with Ukraine, this is nothing new. But now on the big stage, these countries are looking at the U.S. If you saw the response when we went into Venezuela a couple of days ago, the U.S. did. The other countries, superpowers, they're looking at it like, okay, in some ways, I think they feel this is a relief to them, because now we could do what we want in our corner of the world, and there's nothing that you could say.
So let me ask you this. So when it comes to the oil, because China, that's where they get their oil from, Venezuela, right?
Exactly. They were getting a good portion from there.
So what does that do to their oil reserves?
Well,
now that we have control of it.
Well, I think this is all about the part of the plan. If you've cut off the oil supply that Venezuela was giving out, selling to these countries, you've cut off a lot of economic progress from China and these other countries right now. China has to make up that somewhere else. Who knows? China might want to go and invade Taiwan and take over the chips.
Right.
If they control the chips, you know what that would do if China took full control of all the computer chips? What that would do for the auto industry and all our computers and everything? People don't realize how serious this is. And that's one of the things that Trump did say when he became president. He didn't want to be reliant on Taiwan producing all these chips. We need to produce a lot of these chips ourselves. Remember during COVID, Steve, there were cars sitting on the lot that didn't have the computer chips in them?
Yep, I remember that.
So this thing can affect the whole world economy, the market, and everything kind of just connects. Everything connects. It's a snowball effect, with everything, the way this stuff affects. Everything affects everything.
So let me play this clip for you, and I want you to let's talk about it afterwards. Oh, wait a minute. Let me start it over. Here we go. Right.
Charges. Trump announced the U.S. will run the country until a safe transition is possible. But what if the U.S. never leaves? The Petro reset breaks OPEC's global price monopoly. By seizing Venezuela's 300 billion barrels of oil, the world's largest reserves, the U.S. crashes gas prices to a historic $1 at the pump. This logistics miracle slashes shipping costs by 70%, cutting the price of groceries and goods by 30% overnight. Inflation vanishes as the energy tax is deleted, triggering a surge in domestic manufacturing. The currency collapse is solved by replacing the bolivar with the U.S. dollar, stabilizing cost while zeroing savings. As a migration reverse brings 7.7 million refugees back to rebuild $400 billion in decaying infrastructure. The Southern Command expansion dismantles gangs and rebels, cutting crime by 90% as Venezuela becomes a de facto 51st state. This superpower pivot evicts Russia and China, freezing $60 billion in debt and granting the U.S. total military and economic hegemony over South America.
Wow. Now, if that were to happen, that would make Trump look like, you want to talk about people.
Oh, man, if that could happen, Steve, I think some people would say, you know what, make him president for life. We don't know how much more time he has, because the guy is 80 years old almost, if he's not 80 yet. But if he was to do that, Steve, people... Let's be honest.
We're talking about gas prices going to $1.
Steve, at the end of the day,
inflation being reduced to what, 30%, he said. I mean,
at the end of the day, Steve, people
love him or hate him.
People vote with their pocketbook or their wallet, however you want to phrase it. And at the end of the day, I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican. Now, if that is possible,
love them or hate them, right?
If that is possible,
if you're making the most amount of money ever with him, are you mad at him?
You can't.
You can't be.
And you know what? People always want to keep money in their pocket. That's what drives politics. That's what drives people voting. At the end of the day, if this can be pulled off, people would say, make this guy president for life.
And there's a possibility that could happen in terms of everything you just heard in that clip. It's possible that gas could go down to $1 or at least to record lows that we haven't seen in decades, right?
Well, Steve, like I said, I'm no financial expert, but you think about the whole domino effect that they just said. Oil, food, shipping, the other things that's connected to that. All of this would be like unheard of, the effect with the economy, you know? Because let's be honest, Steve, as the prices that we pay, we know these prices shouldn't be where they are. It's all controlled by
no one's making more money.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, inflation has moved faster than our paychecks. You know, the money that we're making. You know, people are making $100,000, you know, one or two people in a household, just one person, $100,000 is just enough now for one person to live comfortable.
Right. And that's not enough anymore. You know, and after taxes, you're talking to $70,000 to $69,000 a year.
Yeah.
If you make $100,000, that's not enough money anymore. I mean,
and I believe if that was to happen, it would also affect the housing market. Interest rates would come down. The price of housing would come down. Everything is connected with this economy.
Yeah, everything's connected. And going to the grocery store, I mean, you know, you used to be able to go to the grocery store and spend $100 or $200 and you got a lot of food, you know, but today that's not the case. So if he can do that, if he can reduce inflation in, you know, going into Venezuela is a part of that, or is the cause of that, then you know what? What's the problem? What if Biden were to do that? Would it be okay? You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying, you know, listen, I could give 2 cents about any of these presidents for the simple fact, I think over the years, promises, right? But realistically, what has any president really done for your pockets, done for you, that you can say that where it really affected you? You know what I mean? So I could tell you this much, right? When it comes to making more money and opportunity, I've seen that. I've touched that when Trump was in office, but I don't give 2 cents. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think if that were to happen, if gas prices go down to $1 and inflation is reduced 30% or more, how could you not like that happening? How could you even be mad?
And that's always been the thing with American people. They love keeping money in their pocket. People love going and spending less for the basic essentials of life. And if any president could take control and do this for the American economy, how can you hate the guy?
Now, I will say this, though, right? With all that being said, and with everything going on, I still think as people, right, we got to change. We got to change how we move in society based on how society moves on us. I'm telling you, man, because like things are moving and a lot of folks are just kind of staying the same. You know what I mean? Staying on an even kill level and just waiting for somebody to come in and do something, or I don't want to say somebody to come in and save you, but it seems like that can be the case sometimes. I think with everything that's going on, we all should be moving in another direction where we're preparing for what the future is going to be like, because the future isn't far away in terms of all these things that are happening between AI, the stuff that's going on in Venezuela. It ain't about just the oil. Venezuela got all those minerals, all those chips for the mobile phones and AI, you can best believe that is one of the biggest things that's going on with that whole thing in Venezuela that nobody's really talking about. And earlier I said, listen, how much of this is real? And that's what I'm talking about, because they're not talking about that. So how much of what we really see is real? Now, did you see the video when they was bringing him in? He looked like he was chilling with them, man. Like they up there having a conversation.
I tell you what, man, he was the happiest prisoner that I ever saw.
And that's what I'm talking about. Like, how much of that was really real?
That guy was the happiest. He's telling people Happy New Year. He didn't seem like he have a worry in the world, Steve.
And then when the camera was off, all right, you can take the cuffs off now.
yeah. He was one of the happiest prisoners that I ever seen.
Because someone said it, right? They said that they could have just assassinated him, right, and took over. But if they would have did that, would have been a lot of questions. Oh man, the U.S. did that, and now they're in there. You know.
Well, one of the things that I asked friends of mine who are really conservative and they support a lot what's going on, and I ask questions instead of trying to tell people what I think and what's the answer to this stuff. I ask questions that piques my interest and I want to get their answer. So if we just pardon the ex-president of Honduras, who brought in over 500 million pounds of cocaine to the U.S. He was serving a 40-year sentence, Steve.
Right.
This guy was pardoned just some months ago by Donald Trump. How do we arrest a guy that's doing the same thing and bring him here and put him on trial? I've asked a few of my ultra conservative friends to answer that. They can't give me an answer, Steve. I'm looking for this answer. And some of the law, experts have brought that up. How do you put this guy on trial when you just pardon a guy for the same thing?
Yeah.
So that's one of the questions. And also, if you're bringing this guy to U.S. soil and putting him on trial, where's the video evidence of him being involved in any type of drug activity? Where's the surveillance? He was the president. Show me where he was doing it. I'm not saying the guy wasn't, and I imagine he's not a great guy or good guy, but under the law, and also the boats being blown up in those international waters. You blew up those boats. You didn't capture those people and give them due process. Now you're giving the leader of the country due process in court. Those people was never allowed due process. These are the questions I'm asking because I heard law experts ask these same questions. You just blow up boats. I thought you're supposed to capture them with the evidence and give them due process in court.
Now, speaking of them blowing up the boats, I got a question for you, right? And again, this just goes back to how much of this is real and, how much of it isn't. We have 4K video today. 4K, 5K, 10K. We got the best technology, video technology, right? That we've ever had. How come we're still looking at grainy videos? How come these videos are grainy?
Steve, I was laughing.
Someone please explain that to me.
I was laughing about that because some of that footage looked like when I was a kid watching the man walk on the moon in 1969. I believe it was with my grandmother on that old black and white TV. I thought I was watching that old remember them old black and white TVs?
Yeah. I remember the black and white.
When I saw those boats being blown up, man, I swear I was watching a man walking on the moon. So that's what it looked like to me, the old black and white TVs.
Yeah. It's funny. Before I sold the crib a few years ago, we had it was a color TV, but it was with the big back, the big tube back in the back. Yep. I had a couple of those in the basement, man. But yeah, I just always wondered, man, you got 4K today, but when they show these videos, like when they showed the U.S. dropping the bombs and all of that video was grainy as hell. And I'm just curious on why we're still looking at when we have 4K. I understand if it's being shot from a distance and you zoom in, but you can show that, right? And then show it regular as well so we can see it. Why can't we see it at regular 4K?
Yeah, those wasn't the greatest videos. So.
Yeah.
So I was like, wow, this is some old looking video, old technology they're using.
Right. All right. The lines are open. 617-238-7111. Now, you was talking about, you had a question about the military. What was your question earlier about the operation? That you wanted the military guy to call us up?
Yeah, I wanted to get some information from someone that's involved in the military. Just wondering, do we have the capacity to spread our military out in all of these different conflicts?
Well, you know what? I'm going to reach out to my brother, 617-238-7111, who's retired from the military. I got a few people, too.
I mean, we got warships out on in the seas on Venezuela right now.
Right.
And we got also Iran. Trump's made some threats towards Iran because they're in upheaval right now. The people in Iran is not happy with their leadership.
Right.
They're protesting over there. And Trump told the leader of Iran, if you start, lashing out against the people in violence or whatever, he's going to come take care of them.
Right.
Man, how many conflicts we going to be involved in, man?
Right.
Right.
All right, so we still got a lot to talk about. We're going to get back to Venezuela. Give us about 60 seconds because, these property taxes in Boston, so important and high as hell. So we're going to talk about that. We got Senator Nick Collins here. Let me get him set up, and we'll be right back, y'all. Give me about 60 seconds, 120 seconds. We'll be right back, all right?
Grateful. I'm grateful for everything I have. Oh, I'm grateful. And I'm grateful. So I'm walking in the beautiful sunshine. Pull up to the barbershop, y'all, to get a crispy line.
All right. Welcome back to the Urban Heat R&B Talk on a Tuesday. Steve Gooseby. We got Rich Sports in the studio. We're going to talk Celtics and Patriots because, the Patriots are in the playoffs. So we're going to get into all of that. Want to welcome, and I got your name. His name is not Steve Gooseby. It's Senator Nick Collins. So y'all disregard what you see on the bottom there. But let me, do I got the right mic up here? Go ahead, Nick. Say something again.
No, I said I don't mind being Steve for the morning. That's good with me.
There we go. All right. So we got Nick Collins. Senator Nick Collins is back. The last time we were here, we were talking about what? Property taxes. And guess what? We're talking about it again because there's some things going on, whether you live in Roxbury or Dorchester or maybe the Back Bay, Chestnut Hill. There seems to be a huge difference in taxes. So talk to me about that. What's going on with that?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. Happy New Year. And I guess today's Little Christmas, the Feast of the Epiphany.
Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I learned after paying attention this year to the sermon on the Christmas Day Mass that the reason that Joseph and Mary had to make their way from Nazareth to Bethlehem,
Yep.
90 miles, was because Caesar Augustus called for a census of the people in Luke, chapter in the Bible. And the reason? They wanted to levy property taxes in the new section of the empire. And so here we are on the Feast of the Epiphany talking about property taxes. And
here we are.
I appreciate the opportunity. So tax bills just went out. The city raised rates. As last time we were in here, we talked about the city raising rates. That is a portion of why people's bills went up. The other part is valuations, and I want to get to that in a minute, and the inequities around that. But it's important to note that the city of Boston has $552 million in their surplus funds from the taxpayers. There's no need to raise taxes on residential property owners. There's a proposal that was put forward.
What's the reason why they decided not to use that?
Well, they haven't given a good reason. Last year, they took $110 million from that fund to put towards new affordable housing for future residents that don't live here yet. It's a good idea for the long term, but we should be using that to also bring relief for taxpayers that live here now. And so that's my contention. We have a proposal before the Senate that is somewhat similar to the city's, that includes language to allow for rebates. When we pass this legislation, we're going to be calling for rebates to be issued on all residential property owners across the city to mitigate the tax increase that was just put forth by the city of Boston. There are also elements in there that will mitigate any spikes or increases that people would see year over year that are 10% or more, in addition to other increased benefits for seniors and personal property taxes. But you hit to the inequities that are going on. So the data that we had called for in December that didn't get released till New Year's Eve was the individual property level data, how the city of Boston was valuing people's homes that they were taxing. And what we saw was, again, just like last year, a 10% increase in Dorchester, in Roxbury, in Mattapan. Actually, Mattapan was a little higher. Mattapan was 12%.
Wow.
And what does that mean? That means even on pre-existing tax rates, your bill's going up because your value just went up as it relates to what the city sees they're taxing you on. So the city's interest in raising taxes wasn't necessarily for revenue purposes. They wanted to maintain a commitment to raise taxes to the maximum levy under Prop 2.5, which we talked about last time, limits cities and towns' ability to raise revenue beyond 2.5% over the previous year on existing property owners. What does that mean? If the city raised $100 last year, they can only raise $102.50 the following year on residential, commercial, all combined. Now, new properties that come online, what they call new growth, residential and commercial, are not factored into that 2.5% cap, which historically, I know you're in the business, Steve, historically had been how the municipalities, and particularly Boston, had cushioned residential increases. We've had our lowest new growth in a decade this last year, which has to change. But the valuation, and this is why it's important discussion today, because people have 30 days, less than 30 days now, they have until February 1st or the first business day afterwards to apply for an abatement on what's called overvaluation. In 1979, a case was brought before the state, which went to the Supreme Court in Massachusetts. That was called the Traeger case. It was the first name of the person I forget, but Traeger versus the Board of Assessors of Boston, and they won that case, which it was a similar dynamic which is going on now, where people's homes and properties being overvalued to get more tax revenue out of it.
Now, Nick, quick question.
Yeah.
When you say overvalue, so if I thought your property you have to have someone like from the bank, insurance or whatever, value your property. How can the city actually put a value on your property?
Well, this is what they used to come out and check the site, see if you'd made any improvements, and do it from there. What they're doing now is they're just taking, market values of homes that have sold,
guesstimates,
even if you're not have no interest
So
in
if they
selling your house.
overvalue your property by $200,000, you have to pay tax on that amount.
Exactly. This is what we're trying to do. We're trying to inform people so they know they have rights to challenge that. And this is the process. You file an abatement application before the end of the month. You have the city has to evaluate what they did. Now the challenge is the city's not going to say in large numbers, yeah, you're right, we're wrong.
Doesn't that seem like trickery economically?
This is what I'll say. We need to reform that system.
Rich, make sure you're talking to that mic.
Because
or set the mic
I
up.
have concerns.
You can move it.
I have concerns about the abuse of this, yes. Because when you're nailing the middle class 10% across the board, and folks are going to work, they don't have lawyers on retainer, accountants on retainer, they're going to spend all day long on this stuff. Yeah, I think they're banking on the fact that people aren't going to exercise their rights. And so what happens? People just eat it, which is
wrong. This is the city of Boston issue we're talking about.
Yes. And so what the pursuit of an abatement, you're going to get your fair shake. It's a two-step process usually. The city is unlikely to say, yes, you're right, we're wrong with all the applications and say, we're going to lower them back to where they should be. You go to the state appellate tax board. Essentially, the city gets the first bite at the apple. If you don't get the decision you want, you appeal it to the state appellate tax board, which is an independent body that makes the call and gives people a fair shake. And oftentimes they're lowering those tax bills to be back where they should be reasonably, not inflating them. And why this is such a inequity is because, as I said, we had just a property sold in Back Bay for $21 million that is valued by the city for tax purposes at 12.5. Just sold for $21 million.
Right.
And you're valuing at 12.5. Like the properties in Dorchester, Roxbury, Mattapan, and other parts in other neighborhoods of Boston, they're not getting that tax cut. They're not getting that break. And so in doing that across the board and squeezing people the way they are is totally unfair.
Yeah.
So
Who's making this decision?
So the assessing department, which is a department of the city of Boston, is the one who makes these decisions unilaterally. There's no vote. And the only way you can exercise your rights is by making that appeal. What we're trying to do with our legislation, in addition to bringing tax relief through rebates, mitigating spikes that people see that are beyond 10%.
And who is the seller and buyer? I'm curious.
in the Back Bay?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you this. I don't know anybody who can own a $20 million house unless they're a millionaire or a billionaire.
Yeah.
So this whole nonsense of, the billionaires, that millionaire and the billionaire is getting the tax break. Right?
Yeah,
exactly.
So
that's something that has to change. And I think if we are able to extend the deadline beyond 30 days from the beginning of the year, because every other option for people for exemptions kicks in, your application has to be filed by April 1st. So we want to tie all these things to April 1st. So people have 90 days to breathe, make the decision. And when you make your application, you have to be current on your tax bills. But what they do is even if you apply for an abatement, they make you pay your tax bill on the value that you're challenging. So in the end, they end up keeping the money anyways. You're like, okay. So and they form it into a credit down the line. So what we're trying to reform as well is, okay, you're gonna get a little more time to breathe here and make the judgment call. Talk to your friends, talk to your family. Is this the right move? I think so. I didn't put a dime in this place. I got a leak on the first floor, leak in the basement, leak in the kitchen. Like, okay,
this is people actually aware of this? Are homeowners in
not as many people?
No.
We've been communicating with our district on this, and we're putting some stuff in the mail for people in the next couple of days. So they are, and I think we're gonna see a lot of awakening around this because people don't realize that half of the impact of your tax bill is the valuation increase, because the city was saying, the tax bills could go up 13%, but you only had a 7% increase in the rate. Not only, but that's half of what the increase would be about.
Have you been criticized from your side of the bargaining table on this? Have you been criticized at all for this, for what you're doing for trying to fight this?
Well, I think when you're debating people who have strong opinions about what they think that they should do, yeah, there's some pushback. I mean, the proposal coming out of the city, 80% of which I support, the poison pill is in this perceived, tax shift to the fat cats. Well, if someone's business is collapsing. You're seeing properties sold in other parts of the city for half, and so those folks are going out of business. What we didn't hear much about was how Main Street was going to get croaked by that.
Yeah.
So restaurants, local restaurants, local retail who employ people in the community, all those costs get passed on to the consumer. We spent a lot of time and effort the last number of years post-pandemic, excuse me, keeping businesses going and supporting small businesses, including putting forth a big economic development package with Representative Chris Worrell and Council Brian Worrell on the liquor licenses to boost revenue in the community. So why would we now go take something and drop an anvil on them?
Yeah, that's
and so
true.
that's and for what purpose? We don't have a revenue problem. We have $552 million in the surplus account.
Now, just for condos also, like if you're an owner of a condo like in Seaport, $1 million condo, is this also affecting that part of town?
Because that's relatively new, like Back Bay and downtown have been around for a while.
Yeah.
So like they got some historic, they haven't kept pace. Or in the case of downtown, the cascading is more about vacancies that happened after the pandemic, end of 30-year leases, and just being old buildings. And some of these older homes that should have been increasing in the assessed value in the Back Bay that haven't. All the stuff that's relatively new is modern, and I think is taxed to the max. Well, I would say we're getting a lot out of that. Commercial taxes 2-to-1 over residential. Everything's full down there. Those aren't getting any breaks. Those are paying their full freight. Same with the condos. But there are proposals to try to, from Council Worrell, to think about how we may reclassify even some residential that are more multi-family, high-end multi-family, that maybe should have a different tax rate associated with it. So there are some ideas there, but broad strokes, we don't have a revenue problem. We have a tax problem. Meaning
Right.
we're going to the max levy, and we're trying to do a circumvention of Prop 2.5. Why Prop 2.5 is important? Because if you're going to raise more revenue than that, that's not new growth, that's not from state funding or federal funding, it's not from meals taxes, hotels taxes, other city fees, and you want to raise property taxes on existing properties beyond 2.5% of the previous year, you got to go to the people for their consent. You got to get the vote of the people.
Right.
And in mayors across the state, our mayor's not the only one, is trying to circumvent that. And they've lobbying the legislature to get rid of it.
Yeah.
So, in places like Lexington, they passed override. Norwood shot one down, Deadwood shot down. Like, the people have a right to have a say in the matter,
Right.
because over time it becomes a runaway train.
But most people just don't, they're just not aware because we're not monitoring it the way we probably should. I mean, that surplus is a big deal to me.
Yeah.
Like, why not use it? Why you have a surplus there? Why do I got to pay more in taxes?
Exactly. And Moody's, to your point, Steve, Moody's says this. Moody's the rating agency says, listen, you get AAA bond rating. You want you to keep some money in there to keep that strong, but you can't stockpile tax revenue because
ever use it.
You end up hurting your consumers.
Right.
You restrict their buying power while you're gaining interest on their tax dollars, and you're raising more on them.
Yeah.
And you put more pressure on the consumer base instead of allowing that to be in their pockets.
You also make people not want to buy property in the city.
Yeah.
Like houses and stuff like that,
No, it restricts people's cash flow and unnecessarily. And, for what?
Yeah.
And I think that's critical that we don't have a problem of financial. Now, do we need to keep spending in check? Yes. You can't grow $1 billion in terms of the budget in 4 years and not have to think twice about how we're spending money. You can't just grow debt service $100 million a year, 30-year obligations, and not say, okay, well, how is this going to be sustainable? But right now, because this proposal was short-term proposal, we have an ability in the short term to mitigate tax increases on residential property owners without increasing taxes on anybody, without hurting small businesses, putting them at risk. They know that the proposal was risky,
right?
Because in the section right after this proposed tax shift was, if we hurt your small business because of Section 2, we're going to send the EMTs to try to stop the bleeding. I mean, that tells you something. So it's, we've seen this, the grant stuff. Like, it's a good idea. I've heard loud and clear from Main Streets and small businesses, like, grant programs are great, but you're chasing them. You need to put somebody on them. You usually don't get them fast enough while you're in need of the cash flow that you gave to the city already.
Right. And like Rich said, it is going to discourage people. Now, and when it comes to buying property, taxes are included in your payment. So not only are you getting a mortgage and they're looking at what that amount is going to be, but it includes the taxes. If it's a condo, HOA fees, all that stuff, you got to calculate it in there. So it could mess with someone who's trying to buy a property for sure.
Yeah. And I see, so right now there's a class action lawsuit that the city's embroiled in that is about this overvaluation, similar to the Traeger case. And that's, largely focused on commercial, but I expect that residential community is going to be doing the same. And that has to be reformed. That's another part of the debate we're going to be having in the next few days. As we move this legislation that we've been talking about, that will provide relief in the form of rebates, relief in the form of direct mitigation on people getting spikes in the new year here, along with increase to senior benefits and increase to personal property ownership relief. If we don't reform the assessing and the valuation, that's where this thing is unchecked.
So, Nick, the mayor got sworn in yesterday.
Yep.
How could she possibly present this to the people of the city of Boston, the homeowners, when someone in the Back Bay with a $20 million piece of property is getting a big tax break? How could she present this and justify it?
It's unjustifiable. And I think the thing that to me that sticks out is,
and you got the reserves on top of that.
Yeah, and when we had this debate and we were calling for data, right? This is why. Like, okay, if you knew already, you didn't start in November to identify the value of people's properties, right? You're the assessing department, you start in January. So you knew that. You withheld the data from the public and wanted people to take votes on things without that data. It's insane. So when you have, knowing that this was the case, because you don't have a property sold in November that for $21 million, and then you come out New Year's Eve and announce that it's $12.5 million, unless you made the determination long before the sale, right? So you had to make that determination long before November. So you withheld the data to submit to the state and to the public.
Wow, yeah.
You wanted people to vote on that. So if I can't, say for sure, but you can't tell me with a straight face that you didn't know what you were valuing homes at. Like, you didn't know you were increasing Dorchester, Roxbury, Mattapan 10% across the board. Yeah, you did.
Well, Nick, maybe this person that got this big tax break, maybe there's some type of big time campaign contribution person or something.
I don't know about that.
Or some corporate person that's, in the city for them to get that break. I mean,
that's why I said, who is this person?
Well, I don't know, but
the buyer and the seller.
Well, yeah. Well, I just think the it's important to sort of absorb that is the millionaire and the billionaire getting
Isn't
the break.
this public records though, Nick?
It is.
Yeah,
it's online. But so to go Boston.com did a story on the sale, and then everyone's stuff is available online. But I just think you withheld data the whole year. You drop it on New Year's Eve. You say, hey, we're in December, didn't hear anything from the mayor's race. Oh, we have this issue. We have to raise everyone's taxes. Blame these people over here. Meanwhile, you're giving people who have significant means
that definitely
nailing the middle class across the city.
That definitely could have swung some votes in another direction.
Well, I think there's a reason it probably didn't come up, but like my position is you have to debate the facts and the truth will set you free. The math is the math is the math is the math. It's not, you can't, wrap it up in a bow or dress it up in something else. Like, this is about fiscal policy and about math. And you can't argue with the data. If you came forward with the data and said this, people would be like, whoa, wait a second here. You get these properties over here that are valued at half of what they're worth. Meanwhile, you're hitting to the roof, if not more so, in other parts of the city, in the middle class, to gouge as much as you can out of them. It's unfair, and that's why people need to know their rights, exercise them on filing abatements, as well as protecting their right to vote on Prop 2.5.
Wow.
that's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
So we'll continue to get the information out there. I know we'll be communicating with our district. We'll share with the show here about the abatement process. I think it's important for people to know and exercise that. And again, this case law, Massachusetts Supreme Court case law backing this up. I mean, it got so bad in the 80s because of this, after the 79 case. The legislature had to pass a home rule petition for the city to float bonds to pay everybody back because they overcharged people. We don't want to be in that situation.
What year was this?
The case was in 1979, and the legislation was in 1982.
Wow. Okay.
Wow. Well, politics as usual.
So the governor, is she aware of this situation?
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone's aware of it. I think everyone's awaiting action. So when we take action, the Senate moves over to the House, and that House is going to debate, what they're going to do next.
Okay.
And I think, the good thing is, I believe there's common ground on 80% of the policy. So the senior increase exemption, the personal property increase in terms of the threshold, how much people can earn to be eligible, rebates, and so mitigating increases that people have. That's sort of coming out of the legislation that can provide immediate relief in giving municipalities, including the city, the tools to do that. But I think if we do not reform the way that these properties are being valued and assessed, then we're still going to be in a situation where people are being treated unfairly and inequitably.
So what can folks do at this point? I mean, we know about the abatements. We know they need to change how they assess things. What can folks do at this point?
Yeah, what they can do is if they go online, go on City of Boston Assessing, check out what they have seen happen to their property in the last year. And if they have seen an increase that they believe is disproportionate to the city and or the neighborhood, they should file an abatement. Right. Or if they think it's overvalued for their own particular reasons, and then pursue the process. The city will have to review it, make a determination. That's not the beginning and the end. The state appellate tax board was the next step. And they can reach out to our office for assistance, 617-722-1150, and we'll help them through it.
Okay. And I'm going to have to do that for moms because her taxes went up. And she's been complaining.
Yeah, the valuations too, right?
Yeah. Wow. Well, thanks for coming through again, man, as always, with this information, man. And it's funny. I was talking to Marv earlier, man. I'm trying to find a political analyst, man. So I don't know if you guys got anybody over there, any interns, man, and looking to do something on the side. But
okay, we'll keep our ear out in the street.
Oh yeah, no doubt. But yeah, folks. So yeah, give that number out once again.
617-722-1150. Make my office, and we'll help people through the process.
Okay, man. I mean, that's a lot coming into the new year. Taxes has always been a problem, and with and you got inflation already.
Yep.
And the taxes and
it's totally unfair. It's totally unnecessary. You get $552 million in surplus fund. Should not be taxing people like this.
Should not. Remember, tax started a war in this country, Revolutionary War.
Absolutely, and it clearly said it had Jesus born in Bethlehem in a manger.
That's right. You can't tax the tea.
Yeah. Thanks as always, Nick. We appreciate you, man.
Thank you for the invitation. Appreciate it.
Indeed.
Happy New Year.
Yep. Senator Nick Collins. And we'll give that. I'll put it up online so folks, if they want to go ahead and make that call, I'll put it online so you guys can see it and just call whenever you can. So it's always something going on in this city, man. But give us like 2 minutes. We'll be right back, and we'll pick up where we left off with Venezuela. We're going to talk about what's going on in Minnesota, and of course the Patriots and Celtics. Patriots, they going to the Super Bowl, man. We'll be right back. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Urban Heat. All right. Nick Collins, want to thank him for coming through once again, man. Yeah, the property taxes thing, man. You know, they got a reserve over $500,000 in there. Why not use it? It doesn't make sense to me. Why not use that money? We're already going to the store, supermarket, paying more than we've ever had to. The gas pumps don't seem like gas has ever come down.
It comes down just enough, Steve, to make us feel good.
Right. And just make sure you're speaking to that mic.
Yep, I'm loud and clear, Steve.
Right,
I'm here with you, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, you know, like you're right. It just comes down just enough where we're not complaining. Okay, they're used to paying this now, and then every holiday
once it comes down under $3, everybody gets a little happy. They mess with us. You know, it's like a couple of pennies under $3, so everybody gets happy. You know.
But I tell you. And maybe I'll play this clip one more time and we could start talking about it again. Venezuela. Matter of fact, let's do that. Let me play this clip for the folks real quick. Listen to this.
Capturing Nicolas Maduro and transporting him to a U.S. federal prison to face charges, Trump announced the U.S. will run the country until a safe transition is possible. But what if the U.S. never leaves? The Petro reset breaks OPEC's global price monopoly. By seizing Venezuela's 300 billion barrels of oil, the world's largest reserves, the U.S. crashes gas prices to a historic $1 at the pump. This logistics miracle slashes shipping costs by 70%, cutting the price of groceries and goods by 30% overnight. Inflation vanishes as the energy tax is deleted, triggering a surge in domestic manufacturing. The currency collapse is solved by replacing the bolivar with the US dollar, stabilizing cost while zeroing savings. As a migration reverse brings 7.7 million refugees back to rebuild $400 billion in decaying infrastructure. The Southern Command expansion dismantles gangs and rebels, cutting crime by 90% as Venezuela becomes a de facto 51st state. This superpower pivot evicts Russia and China, freezing $60 billion in debt and granting the U.S. total military and economic hegemony over South America. After capturing...
And I could tell you one thing that has happened since that has happened. The markets are good now. The market is back up, and shout out to my guy Wade. He's like, man, you ain't going to talk about no crypto. I'll get into it real quick. The market is up.
Oh yeah, the stock market opened at about 49,000.
Yeah, Bitcoin is back at 92,000 and climbing. XRP is back at 227. It was at $1.80 for a minute. Going into the new year, Solana's up. A lot of these cryptocurrencies are up. And like I said before, I was wrong about, hey, listen, when I'm wrong, it's okay. I don't get hit it on the nose all the time. I said Bitcoin would be at 200,000, between $150 and 200,000 by the end of the year. It didn't reach that. Now, there were reasons for that. Although I was wrong about it being at that at the beginning of the year, I'm not wrong overall about where it's going. It will be at $150 to $200,000 sooner than later. I'll tell you that. So those markets are good. And the prices at where things are. Someone did ask me a couple of days ago. They said, should I, because XRP went back up, someone asked, should I wait? What is going on? Okay, let me put something on mute real quick. They were asking me, since XRP is up, should I wait for it to go back down to 250? And I said, should I wait till it go back down to $1.80? And I said, no, because it's already low. Imagine if you did that with Bitcoin back in the day. You want to wait till it goes back down to such and such, and it never went back down to that. So if you know where it's going, an XRP, somewhere down the road, it will be, and it could be sooner than later, it's going to hit $100+. And then at some point, it'll probably be in the thousands of dollars. I can't tell you when that's going to happen. But if you buy it at where it is right now, by the time it gets there, you'll be very happy. So buying it at $2, you're good.
What is Bitcoin right now, Steve?
Bitcoin is at $92,000 right now.
And you know what? Bitcoin, I don't think has went under 80,000. It stayed pretty stable. You know, at one point, didn't it hit like 130 or something like that?
No. What was the highest it went up to? It went 120 something.
Yeah,
it was the highest.
Yeah, I know. I remember that. Yeah.
So
I don't think it's ever going to crash.
No, I think Bitcoin. Again, you got these Bitcoin ETFs at BlackRock, and
And Bitcoin was the original crypto, right?
Well, Bitcoin is just one of thousands of cryptocurrencies.
It was the original, right?
It's the big dog out of all the cryptos.
Yeah,
there's Bitcoin and then there's everything else.
Yeah, I remember.
You know, like there's Michael Jordan and then there's everybody else.
Yeah.
Not to bring sports into it, but yeah. So I mean, listen, you know, it's gonna happen. Things are gonna go great when those trillions of dollars start to come into and work its way into the market. Then you're going to see a lot of uptick in stocks and in cryptocurrencies. Now, one of the reasons why things probably went up after what happened in Venezuela is because of the minerals and a lot of the metals. As we talked about earlier, Venezuela is rich in all kinds of minerals and metals aside from the oil. And some of those minerals and metals, they have chips that they use in our cell phones. They have chips that they actually need for AI. The thing about AI, again, like I said earlier, they're building this massive AI hub in Texas. It's called Stargate. You can look it up. I want to say they're spending well over billions of dollars for it. And they're going to need, for these AI hubs to run, it's going to take a massive amount of energy. So if you're investing, right, I would look up some of these energy stocks, man. Like, and shout out to Melly B, because Mel mentioned, she used to always mention the picks and the shovels, you know, and looking up those energy companies, those are some of the picks and shovels around AI that some of those will definitely go up when those trillions of dollars start to come in. I know people have been talking about in stocks, they've been talking about Chevron because Chevron is made here in America. And
Chevron is also one of the big oil companies.
Exactly. So their stock is, I don't know where their stock is today, but
actually one of the oil companies' stock just went up after the situation
in Venezuela.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's gonna be a lot of that, man. So yeah, start looking into those picks and shovels and getting back to the AI thing. I don't know the name of that chip, but the land in Venezuela, they have a lot of that we need for AI.
Well, one of the things, Steve, anywhere there's a lot of open land, it's natural resources.
Yep.
You got to remember, all American land in America, a lot of it is already built on. Mm-hmm. But when you got a lot of open land where no one's living, a lot of natural resources in the soil and everything like that. So, Steve, a question, I don't know if you could answer this. The AI hubs, do they have to be built on American soil? Could they be built in South America?
I think
would they still work and be able to do the job if they're built off of U.S. soil?
They can build them anywhere, but you know, Trump is all about doing that stuff here in America. So the one in Texas is one of many.
Reason why I'm saying that, Steve, I just saw some people protesting in Texas. They didn't want the AI hubs because these people say they don't want them in their little small towns because they're really trying to build these AI hubs in small towns. The reason why the people didn't want them because they're going to take up about 20 to 30% of their energy on the grid. So that means if you're taking up 30% of their energy on the grid, that leaves them 70%. They could have a massive power failure because now that cuts down on the energy, what they can use on the grid.
Right.
So 30% is a lot on the grid. So that's why I was saying, would it be better if they build these hubs off of U.S. soil, like say in South America somewhere, where they don't rely on the energy the way Americans do.
Right.
So people have been protesting. Also, you need water to cool these places. I'm just learning all this stuff.
Yeah.
So people didn't like the fact that it would affect their water supply. This is enormous. I mean, I'm learning this stuff every day. I watch news channels and watch these people talk about this AI stuff. So between the energy, more energy on the grid, water to cool these places, people are actually protesting. You can go online and look at it. People are not happy about these AI hubs, Stephen. Yeah. Small town USA don't want these places.
Well, it's not a whole lot they can do about it, because a lot of that stuff is happening already.
Some people even mention radiation. I don't know if these places give off any type of radiation.
I don't know.
So anyway, Steve, that's just something to look at down the future, you know?
Right. Yeah, I don't know about the radiation thing. That would be something new, but you never know until that stuff is up and running.
20 years later, 30 years, 20 years later, you'll find out people in that little small town.
We didn't know.
Dying of cancer. Yeah.
We didn't know.
Just like all the class action lawsuits, little small towns, they was polluting the water with these plants, and 40 years later, everybody in the town has cancer.
Right. All right. Shout out. I'm just in the chat room. Shout out to Moonlight, Aaron, Vanessa. Who else here? Mouse just got stuck. Reese. Yeah. So this thing in Venezuela again. It's not just about the oil. Now, the oil is a big part of it, and it's going to affect China. It's going to affect Russia, because if we have control of it, and, I don't know how they use their energy, their oil from Venezuela, but, if they've been cut off since we've taken over, what does that mean for places like China and Russia? What does that mean?
Well, yeah, even though Russia has a lot of their own oil, and because they were selling oil to places like Germany and those places like that, Russia. But Steve, a lot of people don't realize the U.S. actually have a massive oil supply up in Alaska, I believe, the Alaskan pipeline.
Right.
But our thing is we preserve our oil. We don't use it. Our oil is on preserve. Like we were talking about the city government with that money in reserve.
Mm-hmm.
We have oil in reserve, Steve. They say could last us for like the next 100 years. We just don't use our oil. We prefer to get it from other places.
Sounds like the reserve we got in Texas.
I never understood. Yeah, exactly. I never understood that, us not using our oil reserve, but we have a massive oil reserve up in Alaska.
Yeah.
That's what the Alaska pipeline was all about, Steve.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, we were talking about earlier too with Venezuela, man, how some of this stuff, like how much of it is real, because again, looking at the video that I saw on TV with Maduro and the FBI, he was chilling. It looked like he was just chilling, and like you said, he wasn't under any type of duress, and they were having conversation, and I guess at the end of the day, you're human. But I mean, if I was kidnapped and captured or whatever you want to call it, I don't know if I'd be
one thing,
feeling
Steve,
that way.
I'm gonna tell you, if this is all true with him being captured and him and his wife, man, they got some poor surveillance and security. You had no idea that this was going to take place. I mean, you and Trump was going back and forth for the last couple of months. You had, and he did make a threat, say, "Come get me." If you remember that,
right?
He said, "Come get him." So, anyway, you know what? That probably happened, Steve. This guy would be in jail, him and his wife, for a couple of years. This trial goes through. And maybe like the Honduras president, once we get what we want out of Venezuela, our oil companies are in there, we got full control. He gets a nice little slap on the back, pardon, and said, "Thank you, new identity. You go in exile in Spain somewhere, and you go ahead and live your life, you and your wife. And hey, we got control of your country now,
Yeah. And now they're talking to Colombia, and I think it was either Colombia or Cuba. I don't know which one. They already said, "Man, listen, man, we'll be ready for you if you think you're going to come over here and do the same thing."
Well, the thing is, those companies' military can't match the U.S. They got, but the thing is, you will have casualties. If people are fighting back, you shooting at them, they shooting at you. There's always casualties. Allegedly, Colombia has people along their borders already waiting for the U.S. And Trump and the Colombian president, they've been going back and forth now.
But at the end, it's funny though when you think about it, because at the end of the day, man, they don't want it with America.
Oh no, they don't want.
They don't want it with the military here.
But Steve, as a president of a country, no matter how small you are, you still have to stand your ground. You gotta show some toughness.
At least sound like you gonna defend yourself.
You gotta show some tough. But it's gonna be curious.
Then when they show up, I was just playing.
I mean, you got Colombia, you got Cuba. you got Trump wants Greenland,
Right.
From Norway. He said the U.S. need Greenland, even though we already got a base on Greenland, but he's talking Greenland. I mean, look at Iran. Iran was developing nuclear weapons, and we went over there and bombed Iran. As much trash as they talk, saying what they would do, we went over there and, dropped a couple of bombs, and Iran, they went quiet for a while,
Yeah.
I mean, the best thing about Trump, love him or hate him, he pushes forth some strength with America, letting people know that we're still the big boy in the world,
Yeah. And what he's talking about, the U.S. dollar is still going to be the U.S. dollar, according to what he says now. Right now, the U.S. dollar ain't worth a whole lot.
Yeah.
Crypto is worth more than the U.S. dollar. Believe me when I say that. So he already said, and this is the first time I heard anyone in politics talk about BRICS, because Biden, when he was in office, he never mentioned BRICS. Now, BRICS, I thought, was a threat, but listening to Trump talk about it, where he's not worried about them and they're trying to destroy the U.S. dollar, and he's not going to let that happen. I think Venezuela was part of not letting that happen as well.
Well, it's going to be curious because right now Venezuela is front page news every day. They have the lady that took over as president. She was on the assistant or whatever to the guy they have in jail right now in New York. She took over. Hopefully, they don't get into a civil war because the country is very divided right now.
Yeah.
The president that that the U.S. captured, he still have a lot of supporters over there, and even the people that wanted him out of there, do they really want the U.S. coming into their country taking full control? I don't think so.
No, they don't want that.
We never go into anywhere and impose our will and then leave the place and the place is right. And I mean, it's never happened. So we'll see what happened. Yeah,
you saw what they did. With weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, we stayed there for a long time.
Vietnam.
Yeah,
I mean, anywhere we went and try to impose the American way, it never works, man. It's somebody else's house,
And weapons of mass destruction was a big lie. And you know what? In the end, no one made a big deal about it.
No one made a big deal about it, Steve. They tell us whatever they want to. And most of the American public, okay, I'm riding with these politicians. This is what I believe. As a person, you always got to question everything, man.
You got to question everything, man. And again, just like, you talked about the video that they showed the day after we captured him and his wife, showed people out in thousands of people. In that video, I felt like that wasn't real.
A lot of celebration. I mean, my thing is that many people is celebrating. Steve, I've seen some footage of Venezuela. It looks like a city to me. I saw buses. I saw public transportation buses driving through the city. I saw some people in line, but that city didn't look like it. Venezuela did not look to me like it was a poverty-stricken place.
Not at all.
It didn't look poverty-stricken to me, as bad as they're trying to make it sound. I would like to see someone do some type of footage and go inside the city, a news station, and really show what's going on there.
Right.
Because I didn't see a lot of poverty look like it was going on there.
Yeah, I agree. Totally agree. What do you, just switch it up a little bit, what are your thoughts on what's going on with all the daycares and the billions of dollars in daycare fraud in Minnesota?
Well, that's a story where I think the truth is there somewhere. Allegedly, this social media influencer, conservative kid, he goes in with his phone camera. He takes pictures of these empty daycare buildings that's allegedly getting all type of daycare funding. They say it's billions been in fraud with the Somalians. Steve,
and would this have come out if it were Biden? I'm just saying.
Well, probably not. But there's a big battle going on with Trump and what's her name there, the young lady from Somalia, a Somalian lady in Congress. Her and Trump's been going back and forth for the longest. Now, you go to daycare centers and there's no kids there. All depends on when you go there. Now, when he went there, allegedly they were empty. But then there was other people that went there, news cameras, and showed kids in these daycare centers.
Mm-hmm.
So Trump said he was freezing all daycare funding around the whole country. He's being challenged on that. Should you punish everybody for fraud in one place? Because there are a lot of working mothers that depend on daycare. If you decide to freeze funding and these daycares, especially the ones that's operating independently, got like 40, 50 kids, if they're not getting their funding, they can't take these kids in. Now these mothers can't go to work. You can affect a lot of people's lives.
Yeah.
Why don't you go into Minnesota, send the feds in there, whoever, the inspectors, find out what's going on in Minnesota.
Yeah, which
daycares. Don't punish everybody around the whole country.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That's my feeling on that.
And on top of that, you got trillions of dollars missing from the Pentagon. You got trillions missing in Medicare, trillions missing at the Treasury.
Well, Elon Musk, he came in at the beginning of the Trump administration, and he said he was going to find a lot of fraud and money that was being wasted. They got rid of a lot of agencies, the Department of Education, some of these other, I think, was vital health agencies. They even took money from FEMA. If you get a natural disaster, like people in North Carolina are still waiting. If you get a natural disaster, I guess President Trump said to FEMA, let the states handle it. That's tough to do if there's a natural disaster. States don't have the money in reserve for that.
Right.
So they took away a lot of money for these type of things. I don't think, from what I saw, Elon Musk didn't find as much money as he thought he was going to find. Right. The savings wasn't there. Those numbers was not what we thought they were. So, like you said, Steve, a lot of money's been appropriated all around. Hey, did you see all the billions of dollars that Donald Trump gave to the farmers of the U.S.? Why ain't we paying less for our produce now? If the farmers got $150 billion,
right.
So there's questions to be asked. And
they were cut out. I think he did that because I know they were cut out under Biden, under the Biden administration.
Actually, Steve, Trump screwed them with the soybean, with the tariffs to China. That was kind of a little, okay, I'm gonna take care of you because you're suffering. Because a lot of them were speaking out. They voted for him. They were constantly, pissed off. They voted for him. So they were getting screwed with the soybean stuff and the deal he made with China and the tariffs. So he had to throw those farmers a really good bone. And I think it was something like $150 billion a couple of months ago.
And a lot of them lost out to Bill Gates as well.
Yes, exactly. So he had to take care of them because those are his base that was really talking out about the situation they were going through.
All right. Okay. All right. So the CDC has cut vaccines from 17 to 11 shots for children, which is a good thing, I think, because half those shots are more than, I'm no scientist. I don't know, but I never believed in all those shots in the first place. Let's talk some sports, man, real quick before we get out of here, because those Patriots are in the playoffs. Celtics are rolling. How do you feel about the Pats' chances on Sunday, man?
Listen, Steve, we got a home playoff game.
For the first time since what, 17?
No.
19?
2021. No, 19, I believe, Steve. Yeah, Brady's last year. Because Tennessee.
No, wait a minute. Was
2019 or 2020, I believe?
No, it was Buffalo. Didn't we play Buffalo and lose in the playoffs?
No, but a home playoff game.
No, that was home.
No, Buffalo.
Was it home?
No, Buffalo spanked us, Steve. Like they put about 45 on us.
I remember. I thought it was.
That was Mac Jones. That was 2021. Mac Jones rookie year. Yeah, Buffalo. We went up to Buffalo, got spanked because they won the division. We were a wild card team. But this is our first playoff game since 2019, Tom Brady's last year.
Yeah.
And so ironic about that, the guy that came in here and beat us was Mike Vrabel, remember?
Mike Vrabel
with
from
Tennessee,
the Titans.
with Tennessee.
Right.
He came here, beat us, and now the guy's coaching us 14-3. We got a home playoff game Sunday night, I believe 8:00. I'm getting ready to say the San Diego Chargers, but they're the LA Chargers now.
Yeah.
And they're a very formidable opponent. I'm not taking them lightly. I think we should win based on our season. And we got Mike Vrabel, we got Josh McDaniels. We got a lot of experience, playoff experience on this roster.
Yeah. I think we got the better team. I think we'll come out the winner in that. Now, we win that game. Do they know who will play, which bracket will be playing after that?
It's all seeding. Depends on who wins the game after that, Steve.
Yeah.
Because, if we win, then it depends on who win the next game after that and between the other teams. But I tell you, Steve, I feel good, man. We got a home playoff game at Foxborough Stadium, Gillette Stadium on Sunday night. And that's a great thing. Boston Sports is, hey, man, we're doing very well.
And I just got to point this out because so many people all the time say, we don't have receivers. I'm so tired. Stop saying we don't have receivers because guess what? We've won, and I'm not even talking about this team yet. I'm going to get back to this team. In the past, you said we've never had a number one receiver, and that kind of was true because the only number one we really had was Randy Moss. But Deion Branch was a good receiver,
David Givens.
They
both won Super Bowl 03.
Troy Brown.
Right. Troy Brown.
All great guys. So stop saying we never had receivers. Those star receivers you're always looking for.
Don't forget
how many
Julian
Edelman,
Welker.
All of those star receivers that you all look at that you want. How many of them have won Super Bowls?
That's right.
Come on now.
There you go.
Stop it. So look at the team. I think we got good receivers on this team. I think Booty is a Pro Bowler.
Well, the thing
that
is,
boy,
Steve,
Booty is bad.
The thing is, Steve, what Josh McDaniels did, that was a brilliant move. I mean, Steve, if you roll the tape back between me and you, our conversations in early spring, remember me and you would talk on the phone, and once Mike Vrabel got hired, remember we were like, you got to bring Josh back.
Yeah.
Remember we kept saying that, and remember the day he got hired, I think we had a conversation. We was like, oh man, they nailed this, man.
Yep, they brought Josh back.
We said we needed him back here for Drake May.
Right.
So Steve,
and I want to bring up something else too, because people always say, was it Brady or was it Belichick? And I've always said, without Belichick, there's no Brady. Because Brady was not Brady when he got here. He was not Brady he had to be developed. Now, if you don't believe that, is it Drake May or is it Vrabel? Come on now. Are you going to say the same thing? Is it Drake May? No, it's not Drake May. Drake May is being dealt now. Now, at some point, it will be Drake May. He's still being developed. He's got all the talent, and he's being coached right. Without a good coach, a good quarterback is nothing.
Well, Steve, think about it. Back to Josh McDaniels. Mike Vrabel, that was a brilliant move. You go out and get a guy. Mike Vrabel won 3 Super Bowls with the Patriots. He comes in here as a coach. What did he do? He go out and get the best offensive coordinator that was available. A guy that had won 3 Super Bowls with Tom Brady. They went to 5, I believe. Who else to bring along a young, talented quarterback? All of a sudden, Steve, last year they said we had no receivers. These same guys, you take Stephon Diggs out the mix. All of these guys are out there running routes all of a sudden
and guess
the right
what?
way.
Last year when he was playing, I said, yo, we don't have receivers, they said. We don't have receivers. I said, yo, Pop Douglas is that dude. And guess what? He's that dude.
Remember, Steve, Keyshawn Booty was on the roster also.
Right.
We also had our tight ends. We got the same 2 tight ends.
We got good tight ends.
I mean, if you think about it, Steve, these guys are out there running routes now. The greatest thing, if you pay attention, Josh McDaniels is doing the same thing he did with Tom Brady. We don't focus on one receiver. We spread the ball around. Yep. You throw to the open guy and keep the chains moving down the field. That is the best offense strategy that any team could use. Don't focus on one guy. Throw to the open guy. That's what made Brady so good. He always threw to the open guy, not the same guy all the time.
Same concept. And that's one of the good things about bringing in Vrabel and Josh McDaniels, they're both former Patriots. So they know the system. They both worked under Belichick. So they in terms of learning how to coach and learning the game, they learn from the best. You got to take that. I'm pretty sure they're taking a lot of the knowledge that they learned from Belichick, and a lot of it is being implemented into how they coach the team today.
I tell you, Steve, I remember early in the season, I'm going to call you out on this. I remember you was in panic mode. We lost to the Raiders.
Yeah, I was.
We won the next week, I believe, against Miami. Then we lost to Pittsburgh, and you was in a little panic mode. And I'm like, Steve, give Drake May time to learn Josh McDaniels' system.
I was in a panic mode because, and you're right, time is the only thing that was needed. I was panicking because I felt at that time that it wasn't Drake May, it wasn't the team. I thought it was the coaching.
Well, Steve,
you know what I mean?
I know
at that point
what it was, Steve. Remember, I told you, I said, Steve, the system's gonna work.
Mm-hmm.
Josh McDaniels, he's not overloading Drake May right away for everything. He's spoon feeding him. Steve, now if you don't know any better, if you put number 12 on Drake May, the way this offense goes up and down the field, short passing game, taking big strikes down the field every now and then. Steve, this offense looks so similar to the old Patriot offense.
You know what I like about Drake May, man? I think he's so patient.
Well,
he's so patient.
Well, Steve, he's learned that.
And he buys time.
Steve, you have to teach him that.
Right.
He didn't have that last year, Steve. Watch him in the pocket now.
He didn't even have that in the even though we won the game. That game when we played Buffalo and we beat them the first time,
that's right.
He was nervous in that game.
Watch his pocket presence.
Right.
Steve, that's the biggest thing with an NFL quarterback, the pocket presence. Not to have happy feet. You know, you got to have a feel in the pocket. Are you paying attention now? You see his feel in the pocket?
Yep.
Not letting the pocket rattle him when guys are in. I mean, you got linebackers.
And I'm positive.
Guys moving around, 300-pound guys. And you don't know when they're coming at you, but he's having that. He's keeping his eyes downfield.
Yep.
And he's staying in the moment, keeping his concentration, waiting for someone to break loose and finish their route.
And I'm positive Josh McDaniels is talking to him. Listen, this is what you got to do. And he may not be mentioning Brady's name, but he learned from Brady. Like, listen, if you can do it like this. All you need to do is buy 2-3 more seconds. The play will happen. The play will come to you. The cornerback cannot hang with this guy this long. So be patient. If you can just buy you some time in the pocket, the play is right there for you.
Steve, you think in that film room, you don't think they're watching some old Brady clips right now? You don't think those old clips are being shown to Drake May?
I know they are. You know what's crazy, though, when you think about it? When you think about it, Drake is what, 22 years old?
22 or 23.
22, 23 years old, all right? So we got him for a good 10, 15 years. He ain't going nowhere.
Well, you look at quarterbacks
barring
now,
injury.
Yeah,
you
you could cap him off barring any
McDaniels is young.
Injury.
He ain't going nowhere.
Oh, no. Well,
Vrabel is young.
I don't think nobody's calling Josh McDaniels no more. They realize
he's a better coordinator than he is a coach.
Than a head coach. Yeah, he's definitely,
and he already said, man, his kids are comfortable going to school in Norwood, so he ain't going nowhere.
No, he ain't going nowhere. And you got to remember, Steve, Josh McDaniels is getting a nice guaranteed salary from the Raiders. And so all that money was guaranteed. Just kind of getting away from the Patriots. Do you realize the LA Raiders are paying 4 coaches right now?
Mm-hmm.
They just fired Pete Carroll. They're paying Josh McDaniels.
Yep.
They're paying
the dude from the Giants. What's his name from last year?
Yeah, they're paying him. And they're also paying what's his name there? The other coach from a few years ago. They gave the 10-year, $100 million contract to.
Oh yeah,
they're paying four coaches right now.
Right. What's his name? We beat him that time.
Yeah, we beat him. That's right.
You're right. They're still paying him.
Yeah, they're paying 4 coaches.
Chucky.
Yeah, that's right. They're paying 4 coaches right now. It's insane that they're paying 4 coaches right now.
It's crazy.
But yeah, man, we're in a perfect situation, man. I mean, this team's built for the future. and it's great, man. We're gonna have a playoff game Sunday night. I know where I'll be. It's Sunday night watching the Patriots.
I might even be at the game, but
oh man,
I'm gonna be somewhere for sure.
And our Boston Celtics, Steve, man.
Listen, I'm not gonna lie. When the season started,
we was talking about tanking, right?
I wanted them to tank. Because of the draft is so good this year. But big ups to Jaylen Brown, man.
Oh man, MVP conversation.
He's in the MVP. He is the epitome of someone that's balling right now.
And
he is
showing
balling.
people he could be a number one go-to guy. I mean, he dropped 50. I don't know if he was up Saturday night. It was a 10:30 late game against the Clippers.
He's been dropping 50,
dropped
40, 30.
Well, he tied Larry Bird's record for 9 straight 30-point games. And right now, Steve, he's in the conversation for MVP. They won last night against Chicago. They just moved into second place in the East.
Yep, they're the second seed.
And if you do the divisions, they're first in the Atlantic Division over the Knicks. And, Steve, there's still whispers out there that Jason Tatum is coming back.
I was about to say that.
There's still some whispers.
Let's have that conversation because give it up for Brad Stevens, right? Brad Stevens got to be the smartest GM in basketball today. Brad Stevens, they said the thing that makes Brad Stevens great is, what's the word for it? He's great with numbers, but he's great with the analytics.
And he's also great, Steve, with picking out raw talent.
Right.
Okay, I'll go right, make it quick. Neemias Queta, that's how you pronounce it, Queta.
Yep.
Steve, this guy was snatched off the scrap heap. He went to the University, Utah State.
Much
the
better
guy
player
averaged
than he
15
was.
points a game, 10 rebounds in college. Nobody thought, look how we develop him back and forth to the G League.
Much better player than he was when he first got here.
This guy's averaging 10 points and 8 rebounds right now. Jordan Walsh, the guy's knocking down open threes, defending on the wing. He was drafted, I think, second round. We've developed him. The guy's a regular rotation player. Peyton Pritchard, undersized guard, 4-year starter at Oregon. We drafted this kid. This kid was just a little role player coming in, scrappy little guard.
And we got rookies that are balling.
I mean, Steve, look at that. Anthony Simons dropped 27 points last night in the second half in 27 minutes. I mean, Steve, honestly, everybody, this team is playing very well. I mean, that Jason Tatum whisper, it sounds pretty good right now, Steve.
Yeah. I think, man, listen.
If Tatum comes back, Steve, this team could actually win the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, I believe that.
The Knicks don't scare me.
The Knicks never scared me.
And Detroit is pretty
Tatum,
decent.
Right.
They're a physical team. They have physicality. But hey, we've beaten them this year. They beat us. We beat them. We play, and every game's come down to the wire.
Right.
So right now, and I mean, actually, Detroit put a good whipping on the Knicks last night. So
I feel that if Tatum never got hurt, I'm telling you now, we would have won last year. No way OKC would have beat us. Young team, they would have gave us a run, but they wouldn't. We would have handled them. On the team based on the team we had. The Tatum injury was key to the season just, ending the way it did.
And
I never worried about the Knicks. Something about the Knicks. The Knicks are not a championship team.
No,
they're a good team, but they're not. They don't have the championship pedigree.
I think the New York fans, Spike Lee, what's the other comedian name that's always at the game? What's his name? There's a bunch of those guys. They hype that Knick, man. They hype those Knicks up, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They really hyped them up. It's the Knicks, it's New York, Steve. So it's gonna always be bigger than it really is. You know?
Yeah.
You know. So and you know what? They're hungry for a championship. Did you see the way they celebrated that NBA Cup championship?
Mm-hmm.
Some people say, are they gonna put a banner up?
I didn't even watch that, man. I still can't take the cup.
No, it's
serious, man.
But Steve, it's just promotion. to get to get the fans paying attention. You know what it is, Steve? Early season, everybody's focused on college football and pro football. So it's something to kind of grab people's attention. That's all it is, Steve.
I mean, for me, it's not even a real. Okay, you won the mid-season cup. It's not a championship. Isn't it? I mean, are you gonna have a parade?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. It kind of, like I said, it's a promotional thing.
Yeah.
The best thing about it, Steve, is those floors that they show on TV.
Yeah,
that's the best thing about it.
Yeah, man.
But it's great, man. Boston sports, we're doing pretty good right now, man.
Doing good right now, yo. Those Celtics, y'all. Listen, you can start watching them if you haven't been watching them because
that's right.
They are balling right now. I can't wait to playoffs, man.
Oh yeah,
I can't wait.
Well, you know the Patriots been dominating so much. People's kind of put the Celtics on the back burner.
Yeah.
But you know, once the playoffs is over, everybody will turn their attention to the Celtics.
Right. So looking forward to that, man. Listen, man, good show today, man.
All right.
I don't know if we missed anything.
No, I think we covered everything, Steve.
Yeah. So we'll do it again. Tuesdays we're switching from Thursdays to Tuesdays. And I want to say thanks to Leon and the Peoples, who was on with us earlier. You know, one of the best actors out there. They got a show happening at the winery this weekend, so go check that out. And enjoy the rest of the day, y'all. R&B Vibes is next.
All right, thanks, Steve. Have a good one, brother.
Yes. All right.
Voice like a spell.